All right, hello everyone. Gary Ryan for the Fed League Flash. Doing this on YouTube because I was going to do it on Facebook Live, and then I remembered on Facebook Live everything is inverted, and you wouldn't be able to read this unless you're an expert at reading things in a rearview mirror. So here we go. All right, roster news for today. A lot of transactions today, and I want to try and simplify this. Going to go through this real quick. All right. There's four teams that had to finalize the rosters today, which were Mississippi, Port Huron, Motor City, and Blue Ridge. But we did have some other transactions I want to get caught up on. First, Elmira. They released both goaltender Joseph Ackley and forward Santino Foti, or Fati, excuse me. So they are at this moment at 20 on the roster. Now, remember, 22 is permitted. So I'm assuming they're going to be looking for some players over the next couple of days. They have the room now to sign a couple. Binghamton, all right. Chad Lopez came back from his ECHL tryout. However, he didn't report to the team, so right now he is listed as inactive, failed to report. Now, when we say failed to report, I believe the date is November 30th, in which players have time to agree to sign a contract or ask for release, whatever. So right now, Chad is currently inactive. Also, they did a little switch with defenseman. Matthew Boilard came back from the ECHL, and so he signed, and somebody had to go to keep the roster legal at 22. So JC Moritz was released. A little surprised by that because while on the stat sheet Moritz was quiet this last weekend, he had a very solid game. So be it. Danbury. All right. They traded for Josh LaBelle today and Brandon White. White showed up and reported. LaBelle didn't. So I'm a little confused by that. I'm also confused by goaltender Brandon Daig not reporting because he dressed as the backup last weekend. So I'm not really sure what happened there. But anyway, those two players are now on the inactive list. And Danbury got some excellent news today, news that they've been hoping for. Defensiveman Steve Brown, the Danbury legend, he's been around since the Whaler days, and Xavier Abdella, they both reported. So there's a couple more defensivemen coming in, even though Josh LaBelle might not be ready for this weekend. They now have Steve Brown and Abdella in the fold, so they'll be able to have a bit of a more normal looking back end, defensive end. So that will allow the hat tricks to bring Susie and Amesbury back up into forward roles. Now, getting released, four players got released. Tyler Morin, Corey Allen, Brody Conlon, and Chris Blazis. So right now, Danbury's roster stands at 21. So they may sign somebody else before Friday's big clash with the arch rival Binghamton Black Bears. We will see. Now, getting to the four teams that had to make their cuts today. Mississippi, they signed 18. They did not list any cuts. They really don't need to make any per se. Now, Mississippi is one of those teams that doesn't list an inactive roster on the team page or the league page. I wish they would. I wish that that was a uniform thing where everyone has their inactive list listed because, like using Mississippi here as an example, you've got Yaroslav Yevdokimov is still listed as with the team, but he's in Tulsa. He's in the ECHL. I don't think he's coming back. Um, I think he's going to be sticking in the ECHL. But anyway, there are a total of 24 names listed. However, you take away Yevdokimov, you take away Bailey McBurney, who did not get signed. He's a fourth goaltender, and then you have a fifth goaltender, Anthony Deloisio. He just got returned from the ECHL on a PTO. So if you take those three names out of the picture, that would leave Mississippi with a roster of 21. There were three players that were previously signed by the team that weren't listed on the transactions page today. But yeah, they officially stand at 21 right now. Now, for Port Huron, they had a couple players that failed to report, and I was very, very disappointed to hear that one of those names was Larry Vartiainen. Um, he's one of my favorite players in the Fed. Loved his game. Um, I'm not sure what was going on. Of course, he played the first half of last year, had to leave the team because of personal situations, something personally he had to deal with, and didn't finish out the year. And so then I saw his name, so I was hoping he was coming back. Doesn't look like it. Dan Chartrand also failed to report. So taking that into effect, and then the players they released today. Here are the names: Bowie Slarks, Alexis Ostenkovics, Kenyon Carda, Rocco Bonafini, Sam Gagnon, Caleb Williams, and Matthew Brown. Those 7 were released today. So currently, their listed roster is 24. Vartiainen and Chartrand will be considered inactive. So active on their active list is 24. So they've got 2 more cuts to make. They probably have already made them, and it just hasn't gotten reported to the league yet, or the league is just slow in typing out. Release today is. But now they have 4 goaltenders in camp. They have Chris Paulin, David Anderson, Ian Wallace, and Makar Sokolov. Now, Wallace is signed, Anderson is signed. So that makes me think one of 2 scenarios. Either Sokolov's going to be the odd man out and he's let go, or the reason why you have Anderson, Wallace, and Sokolov on the roster is because Chris Paulin isn't healthy yet. And if Chris does not play, he'll be on the bench coaching. He is listed as an assistant coach. So we will see. We'll see what happens. But I would not be surprised if Paulin's name was dropped. I've heard some rumblings that he may not be in game shape yet, or his limitations are just too much right now. I don't know. But anyway, so there we go. So 20. I'm just going by what's on the team webpage. They have 24 names listed. Of course, the roster's got to be 22. Motor City. They released 4 players. They released Pavel Grishin, Phil Plapkov, Clayton Hightower, and somewhat surprising, Blake Scott, goaltender Blake Scott. Of course, Babin is back, so that's fine. But now on the roster, they only have 2 goaltenders listed: Trevor Babin and Ricardo Gonzalez, who played a couple games or a game last year. They've got a slew of forwards listed and a slew of defensemen. Now, they are at 24 listed names. However, Cade Lambden is still up in the Fed, so that brings you down to 23. There may still be someone else. I thought I heard Derek Makema was released, but maybe not. He might still be listed as inactive. So Motor City may have to have 1 cut listed. We will see. Now, the Blue Ridge Bobcats, um, they kind of they've kind of circumvented everything. They don't report things to the league. At least the league doesn't post out their transactions very often. They are very busy on Facebook and social media, saying we signed so and so, we signed this player, we signed this player. Um, and then they had a whole slew on their roster. They had like I think 41 on their roster as of last week. Suddenly today it's down to 17 skaters and 2 goalies. And again, they don't have an inactive list. So Christian Pavlas, he would be on loan, inactive. He doesn't even show up. I was very surprised to see that Ryle Purdy was not listed. If you're wondering who's Ryle Purdy, he was a goaltender that was on the team roster. He interviewed a couple weeks ago, or I guess it was last week, with Benchminer Hockey, and had a really fun interview there. Sounded like he was settled in, ready to assume a role on the team, and now I don't see his name. And that's a real shame because he seemed like a really personable figure. He was very active with the team, just doing miscellaneous stuff, going out on promotional events, and suddenly he's not there. So we will see what happens with the Blue Ridge Bobcats. Of course, these 4 teams that I'm talking about here, they play Friday night. And we'll know for sure then what the roster really is, because again, I'm assuming that there's a communication lag with some of these things going on here. But anyway, there we go. There's the list. That's what we have up to this point, which is 6 o'clock on Wednesday evening. If we get more news, of course, we will put it on Facebook for you. Otherwise, the next thing that we'll be doing is tomorrow on Spotify. I will be doing a team capsule, the final one, on the Carolina Thunderbirds. They're the last team to play their opening game, so they're the last team that we do team capsule on. So make sure to tune in for that. Got some interesting news about them today, so we'll take a look. All right, thank you so much. I'm Gary Ryan for the Fed League Flash. Make sure to hit like and subscribe down below. Keep following us on Spotify. Remember, Spotify is free to use and free to download, so go there. That's where I am Monday through Thursday. And then, of course, we're here on YouTube and on Facebook under the Fed League Flash. Thank you so much for watching. We will talk to you again soon.